Hello, welcome to the fourth segment of the Sustainability and Environmental Lectures. I'm going to talk in this lecture about something called the Coase Theorem. If it is connected to free market environmentalism in this following way. The tragedy of the commons gave us an incentive for free market environmentalism. It showed why it might be better than having unowned environmental property around. The Coase Theorem shows that that free market environmentalism can be efficient. It can maximize total social benefits. And I'll show you how this works. It's important because people are often will say, well, we shouldn't worry about these environmental problems because if the government would just privatize the environment, then because of the Coase Theorem, they would all go away in an efficient way. And I want to show you some of the problems with thinking that way. So first of all, what is it? So the net social benefits, net social benefits, are the internal benefit to whoever's doing the pollution, minus the internal cost to this same agent of making the activity. So whatever the cost-benefit situation of the polluter is, minus the external cost to everyone else of the polluting activity. This is the net social benefit for everyone of the activity. And the question is, can you use a system of private property rights in the presence of external costs and still maximize total net benefits, make everything efficient? And in another way you could think of it, it's showing, the argument is trying to show that external costs are not really a market failure. So pollution is not really a market failure. But as many things are, it'll work in the ideal, but in practice things don't work out as well as they should. So the Coase Theorem suggests that under certain circumstances the market can handle externalities. The Coase Theorem states that if the agents can negotiate the selling of rights to do activities which cause external costs, like polluting activities, and they can do so with perfect information and no transaction costs, and this is the crucial thing, then they can always find solutions to the problems caused by external costs. And these solutions will maximize total net social benefits. Okay, so let me give you an example. There's three cases here. In the first case, Carol's got a fishing spot. ABC builds a chemical factory and emits noxious pollution into the river. The payoffs are here, and there's no property rights here, so nobody can tell anybody what to do. People can just do whatever they basically want, common property. So let's have a look at the payoffs, and then you'll see what happens. If ABC installs pollution control, then ABC's net benefits, the chemical company, is 100. If it goes without pollution control, its net benefits are 130. So it's going to go without pollution control, right? This is if you think, the dominant strategy for ABC. So this is what's going to happen here. The trouble is that Carol's net benefit is 100 if there's pollution control, but she loses $50 if no control is used. The total social benefits here are 100 and 100 is 200 for if ABC uses pollution control, but 180 if ABC doesn't. And unfortunately, that's where they're going to end up, with no property rights. Okay, so another argument in favor of privatizing the environment, maybe. Well, suppose Carol has the right not to be polluted. If she has the right not to be polluted, she can force ABC to install the pollution control equipment, and that means that she can force this outcome here. In this outcome, ABC loses $30, but Carol gains 50, and the net social benefits are 200, and so there's a Carol has a property right in not being polluted. If she can enforce that, we will have the socially optimal level of pollution. Now here's the interesting case, the third case. Suppose that the chemical company, has a marketable right to pollute that it can buy and sell and transfer to Carol or buy and sell. And this is the key thing. If the right is marketable, then the Coase theorem says that the two parties can negotiate an optimal solution. And here's how it works. Carol will offer ABC, if she's rational, a $40 payment to install and use the pollution control. And ABC will accept the deal. Look, if Carol offers ABC $40 to install the pollution control, then ABC will get the net benefits of pollution control here, plus the $40, which is $140. Carol is still ahead because Carol is got $100 under this scenario. She has to pay ABC 40, so it's minus 40 for her, leaving her with a $60 net benefit. But but she's better off than she would have been with a $50 net benefit. So both parties have an incentive to make the deal, and the deal will result in the same maximize total social net benefit. Okay, it's quite remarkable. From the utilitarian point of view, which is just that of maximizing the total net benefits of the activity, it does not matter whether ABC or Carol is assigned the property rights. If Carol has the right not to be polluted, you get to the $200 situation. And if ABC has the right to pollute, as long as they're marketable rights, as long as you can involve the market in the situation, then this sort of free market environmentalist approach will result in the maximal social benefits. Okay, and Ronald Coase, an economist, got the Nobel Prize for seeing this. It doesn't matter who has, from the utilitarian point of view, it doesn't matter who has the property rights. But from the justice point of view, of course, it does. If it may seem unfair that Carol would have to pay to reduce ABC's pollution, if you think perhaps that ABC had no right to pollute, though it could have been the case that ABC was there first, etc. But I mean, you can make arguments from there are justice-based considerations that come into this, as always, whenever you have a utilitarian argument. So the assumptions of the Coase theorem are that the parties can negotiate these side payments, so that things are marketable and you can negotiate these, and parties have enough information to do this, and there are no costs involved. There's no transaction costs. Immediately you start paying legal fees, or you start having trouble finding the party with whom you're supposed to negotiate, or whatever, then you get in trouble. And the problem is that most pollution cases have cases where there's, say, many recipients of pollution and many polluters, and then negotiations become prohibitively expensive. The assumptions of the Coase theorem are only satisfied in very simple cases, but when you've got legal fees, when you've got multiple people trying to negotiate, holding out, hoping for better deals, and so on, or when the cause of pollution is difficult to prove, etc., etc. In most of the real world, the Coase theorem approach just doesn't work. The Coase theorem, of course, also maximizes efficiency with no regard to pre-existing rights, as though maybe Carol had a pre-existing right, informed consent to infringements, its compensation, fairness, and all those other things. Okay, so the Coase theorem works in theory, but in practice it has limited value in justifying free market environmentalism. Okay, so here's a question. In which of these two situations will the Coase theorem approach work best? Pollution emissions from diesel engines in the state of California. How many diesel engines are there in the state of California? I mean, there's millions of them, right? So we've got many emitters, many polluters here. Pollution emissions from an isolated factory that fall on the fields of the only nearby farmer. Well, here we've got a case of one factory and one farmer, and yes, maybe the Coase theorem approach, side payments could work here. So your answer is, where will it work best? Sorry, B. Not where won't it work? Got to read these things carefully. All right, so there's a motivation for free market environmentalism, trying to get rid of tragedy of the commons situations, and there's another justification showing that it can be efficient from an economic utilitarian point of view, and there's some of the problems that go with that approach.